Welcome to Supplier Spot Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Join us as we chat with suppliers, park owners, and staff, uncovering insights, strategies, and stories that will elevate your outdoor experience. Get ready for inspiration and innovation in every episode.
Hey there, everybody. Bobby Sorden here again with Supplier Spot Spotlight Podcast. I'm here with Sandy Ellingson. Say it right, Sandy? I always want to throw a T in there. I don't know why I want to throw a T in there, but it's Ellingson.
Everybody does.
So yeah, I'm here with Sandy, and as you can see, she's actually broadcasting live from her rig. Well, I guess this isn't live. It's live to us, but it's being recorded. But she's right there in her RV because I know she's a full-timer. And I met Sandy last year, about a year and a half ago, when I was working for a previous company in this industry, and we connected. And you've done so many great things for me, Sandy. I remember bringing you on to the team that I was working for with the other company, and you gave them some pointers, some advice, especially people on the team who don't really get a chance to get out to the conferences and see people like you and what you're all about. So I want to say thank you again for being on here with me. So I appreciate that.
Well, you're so welcome. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, and these podcasts, I'm just making them very casual. There's like really no script, no rhyme or reason. We talk a little bit off camera to get prepared for it, and then we just kind of go with things. So one of the questions I want to ask you right off the bat is, being one of the newer people that have gone on to Supplier Spot. Remember, I launched it March 5th. So I'm just a couple months out now, and I'm getting such great feedback from so many people in the industry. And I think I already told you off camera, I'm going to revamp the website. I'm hoping to launch it in the next couple weeks or so, where it's going to be so much better and make it so much easier. I got a lot of good feedback about how to do that. So one of the newer people, what do you think about Supplier Spot, and how easy was it for you to get on, and what are your hopes with it?
Well, it was super easy to get on. And we are also, of course, we just came through Memorial Day weekend, and because I work with campgrounds and we also have a couple of other initiatives going on, I had to get through that. So I'm just now getting to the point where it's becoming my priority to check it out, learn what it's all about. Although, like, you and I talk about this, and, I've seen the need and just encouraged you in what you want to do with this. So I think it's a great idea. I think anything we can do to bring people together in the industry is really important, and that's one of the things that that Supplier Spot does.
Great, yeah. I mean, that's my whole reason behind it. As you said it right there. I just want to make a one-stop spot. I just really want it to be a place where park owners, staff members of RV parks and campgrounds can go and find anything they're looking for. Like right now, I just went to the search bar, typed in consulting, and it'll bring up people who has something to do with consulting. So right there you are, Sandy Ellingson Consulting. So, oh, wow, I know that person. Look at her. I've seen her before. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the logo, and you got another picture of some parks that you've been to. You talk a little bit about what you do with the parks and your mission. So this is my goal, is just to have one spot where people can go and look for people like you. And as I mentioned, I'm revamping the site. It's going to be so much better here in the next couple of weeks or so. But I wanted to get something out there to see if it was going to work. So I'm really glad that you got on there, because I hear your name all the time in the industry. I've seen you at so many conferences. We just got to see each other in Florida last month, and I got to meet your husband finally in person.
Yes.
I've always heard him in the background. And I know on the platform we're on right now, you usually have your background blurred out. So I always hear your voice or your husband's voice in the background. I'm like, does that guy really exist? Or,
Yeah.
So it was great to be able to meet him and meet your dog. That was so awesome to meet your dog there too. So
Right.
It was great. I wish I had more time to talk with you, but as you know, those conferences get so busy. But again, it's just great having people like you on the side, because it's showing this industry that I'm trying to build something that the whole industry will like. And, you're
Right.
so well known in the industry. So thanks again for being on it. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity, like I said, and I just love supporting young entrepreneurs. That's pretty much what I've done my whole career. This whole foray into the RV industry is a second career, because I thought I retired and sold my consulting firm. And then I just fell in love with my campgrounds. And before I knew it, I was helping over 100 campgrounds. And my husband said, honey, you just think you're retired. And so one thing led to another. And now I get to do what I love to do most, which is help campgrounds. And a lot of times I get to do it through what's called a scholarship. So if they meet certain criteria, it doesn't even cost them anything. But there's still a lot of campgrounds that I don't ever hear about, or I don't know about. If they're not, I don't do advertising. So if they don't find out about me through another park, or if I don't strategically go look for them or meet them at a conference, then I don't really get to know about them. And so my goal really is to help all parks. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things that I feel like we can share, based on what kind of park they are, that can absolutely help them. And so that's my goal.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, I'm scrolling through your website here as you're talking, and yeah, it looks like you have all exactly what parks are needing. This right here, I know is very important, overcoming that fear. Hesitation is big. And just like you said it too, the main reason why I started Supplier Spot was I'm an avid camper myself. We used to have a 36-foot fifth wheel. I pulled our 20-foot boat behind it. Technically, it wasn't legal going down the interstate. I think we're like 88 feet long, but we usually would just jump on the interstate. We go down to our favorite lake, and we had our generators, so we would just set up right on the side of the lake. And so we've always been avid campers. Made such great memories with that with our kids. So our kids were younger at that time. They were like, we've got our fifth wheel, I think, when my daughter was 3 and our son was 1.5. So, or I guess one, more around there. And that's all we did is we went and did camping and lake time and made those memories. And then when I got into the industry on the other side for the company I was working for, selling a software, I was the marketing director guy. So I was not director, but the senior manager of marketing. And, getting out there to those conferences and trade shows, I just fell in love with all the people out there. And it's just such a fun industry, and the campground owners. And you and I both know that RV park campground owners are so hesitant to stop and talk to suppliers or anybody that they think are trying to make money off of their park. And I completely understand that. This is like my 4th or 5th business that I've had. And all my businesses have been semi-successful where I've made a little bit of money, but I've also been able to lose a lot of money by learning from those mistakes. So just like you, Sandy, it's like, I have a consulting business too when it comes to marketing, and I just like being here. And I know this fear of, like you have right here on your website, overcoming that fear is always like, it's kind of scary to talk to these people. So it's great to have people like you in the industry.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like the industry's been quite volatile for the last 3 or 4 years, really. It was already getting a little bit volatile prior to COVID. Then COVID really made it volatile. And when I say volatile, I'm talking about the change that is happening so fast, not necessarily that it's negative or positive, because you can look at the last several years we've been through and you can find some very positive things about it. You can also find some very negative things about it. And then the bigger piece is, how do you move forward after it? Right.
Yeah.
And the landscape has just absolutely changed. And, the hardest thing is to find people that are like-minded and that you can trust. I feel like a key word moving forward over the next couple of years is vet. I think it's more important than ever that we vet the people that we are working with, because of technology, which I'm a technologist and I love it. However, it is more important than ever to vet the people that you're working with and to vet the technology that you're using. And again, the more ways that we find of connecting with each other, the better off we're going to be, so that we can get those referrals one to the other, and we can just have better proactive communication. I think that's the key to all of this.
Yeah. 100% agree with you on that one. And it's kind of funny how here I started my DJ business in 1999. So I've just dated myself, and then I taught myself how to build websites, because that's pretty much when the internet was getting going and popular. So I taught myself how to build websites, and then I met some vendors at bridal shows, because I was going to bridal shows, which is the same exact thing as a trade show for an RV park conference or a campground conference, because you're going there, you're setting up a booth, you're selling your service to the brides and grooms. And then I got into making, a friend of mine, we created the Southern Colorado Wedding Association. And because, of course, obviously I'm here in Colorado, and that was exactly the point that you just hit on, was we wanted to create this association so we could vet all of the vendors into the association. They had to provide their business license, their proof of EIN, and all that sales tax stuff if they were selling items. That way the brides and grooms knew that the vendors that we had in the SCWA were going to be vetted vendors, so they didn't have to worry about them. We called them trunk slammers, people that they would take their deposit, slam the trunk, and leave town and go to the next town and do the same thing. So you make such a good point there. And that's really what I'm trying to do with Supplier Spot as well, is all the suppliers that are on there right now are ones that I personally have met and talked to. And there's nobody on there that I would not say, hey, this is a good supplier to be on there. And that's what I continue to do as I build this out.
Right. Yeah. And again, I think, when we're talking about associations, the associations that we have in our industry, they are, they could not be better. I haven't
Yeah.
worked with a single association that I don't feel has a true heart for this industry.
Hmm.
The problem is that, like a lot of campgrounds, they're understaffed because of
Yep.
budget. They're oversold technology or things that they don't necessarily need. And then, while they have primarily been the first resource for suppliers and people to work with, the internet has made it so hard because
Hmm.
everybody they go to Google first. It's just natural. That's what
Yep.
happens.
Of course.
The problem with that is Google recommends whoever pays them the most money.
Yep.
Google doesn't care if that company really understands our industry, and we are unique. And so I think it's so important when there are people that know and can be responsible for helping to do that, like you're going to be doing with Supplier Spot,
Hmm.
that we be able to work in association with those, in association with the associations, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Not to do anything or take away from them, but to come alongside them
Yeah.
and help them. So, I do hear a lot about the associations being very concerned about, what are the best things that they can do for their parks.
Yeah.
And there are things you and I will never know about running parks. And if they
Hmm.
can focus on those things and let us take some of that burden, those of us that work in technology, right, off of them,
Hmm.
I think we're setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I mean, that's exactly the way I look at it, and I think you and I are probably in the same boat. When I was reaching out to people before I launched Supplier Spot, I was reaching out to so many people in the industry, and actually, you were one of the ones I talked to before launching, and
Right.
just to get thoughts and ideas to say, okay, do you think this is something that could be successful? Do you think it's something that's a need in this industry? Because I didn't want to come in as like some other person being like, okay, how am I going to make all kinds of money from this industry? And yeah, granted, of course, I want to make money. I mean, who doesn't? But what's so important to me is I want something that people enjoy using and they can say, oh, yes, go here. It's easy to find people or it's easy to sign up if you want to sell items. And that makes me feel good to say, hey, I built this. It's kind of like my DJ business. I built that from the ground up, not having a clue knowing what I was doing, but I just
Right.
researched and I learned every step of the way. And then when I leave like a wedding and the bride and groom come up to me and say, God, you made our entire day from the ceremony, from the day we booked you, you eased all of our, that's kind of how I wanted to do with the Supplier Spot, to say, this has just made my life so much easier. But
Right.
like you said, some associations, they one of them specifically said, I'm just worried that you're going to take the suppliers away from all the associations now. And why would they want to be an association supplier member and pay our fee if they can go on to Supplier Spot? And that's the complete opposite that I'm trying to do.
Right.
I'm trying to help promote the associations. Like if you notice here, when I'm back on the site, I even have a spot on here that says conferences and trade shows where I'm promoting. They're not paying anything for this. This is my way of saying, hey, here's all the association conferences that I know of. And if,
Right.
Sandy, if you know of any others, please send them my way and I'll throw them on here.
Okay.
But it's just my way. Like the next one coming up is Arizona, and it goes right to their website. It's not going back to a page on my site.
Right.
It's my way of helping them promote, and hopefully suppliers who didn't know about those conferences or even know about those associations are like, well, who are these about? Maybe I'll become a member. And I know it actually worked too for the Florida conference. I was talking to a supplier and I said, hey, you thinking about going to the Florida show? And he's like, I don't even know about it. I'm like, oh, here's Bobby Cornwell's information. I'll do an email intro. And the next thing you know, he's a member now and he went to the show. And to me, that's how we do this whole industry, is just help each other out. It's such a big industry. There's plenty of friendly competition out there. So,
Oh, exactly. Well, and is it competition or is it a partnership?
I think it's partnership. I think it's collaboration.
Asking myself, because I do constantly ask myself, is what I'm doing honoring to every sector of this
Mm-hmm.
industry? Because if
Yeah.
it's not, I won't do it. This is my second career, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it because of my passion for this industry, not because I'm starting a job or a career or anything like that. Now, obviously, you're right. If you're doing an endeavor like this, it does take money to do it. And we
Yep.
all have limited amounts of money that we can invest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without getting some type of a return. But for the most part, I think the people that I have run into in this industry that I depend on and consider my real, not just working in the industry as peers, but real partners. They really do. They respect and they care about all of our associations, whether it's our state associations, our national associations. We just want to come alongside each other and work to make each other better.
100% agree. And I promote Bobby Cornwell a lot whenever I talk about this or the other people, because he was actually the first sign up on Supplier Spot. When I talked to him, he's like, I love this idea, Bobby. He's like, I really think you have something going somewhere. Then we talked even more, and I was able to host trivia, and you were there for that in Florida. And that was just such a big hit. And that all comes from, I keep hearing you say, this is like my second or my third career. And technically this is mine too, but everything I've done in life has led me back to here, which now I can pull stuff into this, like owning a DJ business. I do trivia at local bars. I do trivia for big corporate events. And I was like, hey, we could do trivia and promote suppliers and have questions just about the suppliers. And that was a huge hit. Not only that, the trivia.
I was shocked. I was like, I had to step out to take a phone call while you were doing trivia. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be 15 minutes and it'll be over. So I didn't go directly back in because I ended up being on the call longer than I thought. Yeah. And then I'm walking back in there, like everybody's still in there clapping and yelling, and it's like still going on. So
it's a lot of fun.
Wonderful things about that.
Yeah, it's great. And of course it helps me promote Supplier Spot. It helps promote the suppliers, which is the whole point. But even more importantly is the software I use. I can show RV park owners and staff members the same system I'm using so they can take it back to their park and play trivia with their campers. And now the software company actually just released the bingo version of it as well. So you can use the software for trivia and bingo, so it's just a great way where it's all around, where I'm helping the industry from the suppliers to the park owners to the associations. And, so I got some more lined up coming up over the next few months that I'll be attending, where I'll be doing trivia. And also one that I've got lined up I'm excited about is doing some karaoke. Going to be hosting karaoke. I don't know if you're going to Canada, if you're going to the Camp X show or not.
I have not decided yet because of the launch that we've got going, but I think that would be a lot of fun. We are doing some things, hopefully, with Canada that's involved in all of this. So, yeah, I'm excited.
I had a call with Kara last week, the president of the association. She's so awesome. Yeah, so she said she's talking with her board and we're putting everything together. But yeah, hosting karaoke would be a lot of fun. It's the same concept. It'll be promoting suppliers, but it'll just people having a good time and making memories. And that's all I'm about. I'm a big entertainer guy. I'm an extrovert. I'm always floating. I'm at the bar having drinks with this person. I float to this person. And that's how I meet people like you. And that's what I think this industry is about, is creating those collaboration partnerships. And, I look at people, I like to call them colleagues, but now they're just becoming more like friends. I keep in touch with a lot of people. So I think it's great having people like you in this industry, Sandy. And again, I appreciate your support and all your advice you've given me as well. I always take that into consideration when I'm thinking of other ways of doing stuff. So thanks again for everything. I mean, your site's great. For everybody out there, it's sandyellingson.com is her consulting website. Of course, you can message her through Supplier Spot. If you just go to Supplier Spot and you can type in Sandy, you can type in consulting, whatever, and you can send her a message. It'll go right to her email. But yeah, other than that though, Sandy, is there anything else you wanted to say or close on?
No, that's it. Maybe we'll have another chance to talk about another company that might be coming into Supplier Spot soon.
Heck yeah. I'm all for that. So yeah, thank you again, Sandy. I appreciate it. And to all the viewers out there, once again, this is Sandy Ellingson Consulting, Bobby with Supplier Spot. This is another Spotlight podcast. So thank you guys for joining and watching. And thanks again, Sandy. And everybody have a good rest of the day.
Thanks for tuning in to Supplier Spot Spotlight. Keep shining bright in the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Stay tuned for more illuminating conversations with industry experts. Until next time, enjoy the great outdoors.